Police say this massive warehouse fire was allegedly the work of a disgruntled employee. Stunning new video appears to show the start of the fire. In the footage posted to social media, you hear someone say all you had to do was pay us enough to live, as stacks of toilet paper burn.
All you had to do was pay us enough to live. There goes your inventory.
Last night, police announced the arrest of Chamil Abdul Karim on suspicion of multiple felony arson-related charges, adding the 29-year-old is an employee of NFI Industries, a third-party distributor for Kimberly-Clark, the company known for manufacturing paper-based personal care and hygiene products.
When you got Abdul Karim in your name, it's already expected you would do something like that. The owner of that business, he should have knew Abdul Karim would be the one. You don't play with no Abdul. Or no Kareem. But now listen here, Abdul. Why would you get the toilet paper, man? Knowing what's going on with the Strait of Hormuz right now. Knowing that we in a full-blown crisis. You gonna burn up the toilet paper. Knowing it's another pandemic brewing. He just added to it. He added to the toilet paper shortage. Watch when they say it's a shortage on toilet paper.
You're shitting me. Felipe, there's something wrong with my check.
What's wrong with your check, Abe?
There's not enough money. Where's the money? They're paying one number and then taking a lot of the money for all these other things.
Let me see, Gabe. This money goes to the local government, federal government, your insurance, and your social security. That's why it's less money.
I can't make enough money to live off this.
You may need to get another job.
Another job? I wash dishes all the time. When can I do another job?
I don't know. I have 3 jobs.
What?
I work here, I'm a mechanic, and I do a valet parking at an escape room.
I thought a job gives me enough money for all my things and some extra money to spend on fun stuff.
Sorry, Abe. This is how it is.
I saw a guy pop up on my FYP the other day, a young guy, and he was in an absolute rage because he couldn't make it make sense. He makes 3 times minimum wage. 3 times what the minimum wage is, and he can't afford to live. Read an article in an economic journal that said the national average income to live comfortably for a single person is $96,000. For a family of 4, the national average to live comfortably, just comfortably, is $240,000. And granted, that's an average. So in some places it's higher. How are we supposed to make it make sense?
And let's not even talk about retirement. Last time I checked, you needed $4.4 million in your retirement fund to retire. I know it's higher now. This was before all of the BS going on in the world. It wasn't as much, rather. Let's put it like that. $240K, damn near $250,000 to live comfortably for a family of 4. What about a family of 8? See, this is why people become deadbeats, for real. For real, I know why they do. Some people probably didn't even have it in them. They didn't plan on it, but they like, I can't even afford to take care of myself. How am I gonna take care of somebody else? I think that's what some of them think. They might want to, but then they realize it's impossible. They had too many kids. I'm just being real with y'all. For the people with 4 kids, do you think them numbers accurate, or can you survive off less? We saying comfortably now. That means not being in survival mode. You know, comfortable. Y'all can take family vacations. Y'all can buy the things y'all want and need, not just the things you need. I'm thinking that's what it's saying. I know you can live on a lot less, actually. I don't even have to have y'all answer that. If you're frugal, if you budget, yeah, of course.
I need to have a vent session for a second about the state of affairs in this country. So I have 2 adult children. One is 18 going on 19 and the other one is 21. My 18-year-old is working currently as an HVAC apprentice and working on getting certified, but he's making $16 an hour, which I live in a small to mid-sized Missouri town, so that's pretty typical around here. Wages are, low compared to a lot of places, but so is the cost of living. But he would also not like to be living at home with mom forever. He's more of an independent, autonomous person, so apartment living is not for him at all. He wants a place where he can have his truck and his dirt bikes and be able to work on motors and have the freedom to do what he wants with the place and also be able to have all of his stuff. And at this point, honestly, renting a house would cost more than a mortgage payment anyway, but he's been looking for houses and just trying to figure out what he can afford and what he can do. And he found this place that was only $125,000, which is dirt cheap around here. That just doesn't exist anymore, but it had no basement. It was on like a slab foundation, I think, and probably needed some work, which he is naturally talented at that stuff. Like he works in HVAC, he's very mechanically inclined, like he can do this stuff, so he's not afraid of a fixer-upper. Found out that the main reason it was priced so cheap is because it was in a flood zone, so it was a no anyway. But keep in mind, $125,000 house in this economy. And when we looked up to see like if he did like a 5% down payment on this thing with, you know, your insurance and PMI and taxes and everything, his payment would still be $1,100 a month for a like cheap piece of crap house. And just the look of absolute dread on his face when he realized how completely unaffordable and unattainable it is for him to be able to buy a house and live on his own.
Yeah, unfortunately, there was a study that said if you didn't purchase a house in 2020, anyone making a normal wage won't be able to afford a house at all. They won't, not in America at least. You got to go to another country. You got to go overseas. Go to the third world countries like everybody else. That's the real. Made it through in 2020. Cool, right? Y'all were some of the last ones because the housing market went up so much. Because that year, people were overbidding. That caused the housing market to go up crazy. And I had a friend, actually. He's in real estate. He flipped over 100 properties. He told me how to get the property value to go up in the area. And it's similar to what happened due to the top players, y'all know who that is, buying up all the properties around there.
Now, my oldest son just turned 21. He's been waiting to turn 21 because he wants to get into the cannabis industry. And it's just like the alcohol industry, where if you want to be like a brewer or a bartender, you have to be 21 in order to do it. So this past week, Thursday, he interviewed for a job with a grower. And just a couple of days ago, he was offered the position and officially accepted it. And in that time, less than a week, we decided to start a war with Iran. And so when he interviewed for the job, gas prices were around $2.50 a gallon where I'm at, and now they are already at $3 a gallon and climbing. So just in the time between when he interviewed for this job and when he accepted this job, gas prices have gone up 50 cents a gallon, and they're not done climbing yet. And this is an issue because this job, there's a lot of dispensaries here in town where if he had, ended up there, he'd probably be a little bit better off. But this was the job opening that was available at the time for him to get into the industry. And it is a farm, which is 30 miles up the interstate from where we live. So now he is going to be driving one way to work 30 miles at a time when gas prices are going through the roof, because we decided it was a good idea to start a completely unwarranted, unjustified, and unnecessary war with Iran. And I'm now sitting here thinking about my own situation, where my own currently hourly wage is, and considering if I was their age, if I was just starting out. So thinking about buying the same house that I live in right now at its current value, at current interest rates, with the same % down payment that I paid for this house back in 2017. And I realized that my payment would be double what it currently is. And I, as a 40-year-old woman who has been working for 24 years of my life, could not afford this place on my own. Like at 40 years old, I would need a roommate in order to live in this very modest, like 1,300 square foot, 1968 ranch style home. Like it's not a fancy house by any stretch. It's what most people would consider to be essentially a starter home by today's standards. And I could not afford it on my own on my current wages. So my question is, how the hell are we expecting these young kids to do it? Like for someone to start out, even in my area, in like rural Missouri, they would have to make $30 an hour in order to be earning a living wage, in order to live on their own and support themselves without the help of a spouse or a roommate, just for a single person to live and make it on their own, to be able to afford a vehicle payment, vehicle insurance, a mortgage or rent payment, and all of the utilities and groceries and cell phone bills and stuff that go along with just living your life. That's no fun stuff. It's just to live. They would need to make $30 an hour. Meanwhile, we have a government that is more interested in starting wars and harassing other countries and harassing immigrants that are living in this country than they are with their own people, than they are with helping the working class in any way, shape, or form with any kind of meaningful legislation or reform. We have a do-nothing Congress that is sitting on their hands and doing absolutely nothing to help any of the working class people. I'm mad about it for myself, but I'm even more mad about it for my children. Something needs to change. Something's got to give. And frankly, at the midterms, it would be great if the Democrats are able to take over, because at least they'll do something to stop the nonsense that is happening in the executive branch that is going on unchecked. But are they going to do anything to actually help the working class people? At the end of the day, even the Democrats are doing the absolute bare minimum to be able to claim that they are for the working class, because they, right along with the Republicans, are taking money from wealthy campaign donors, and any policy, any legislation that they pass ultimately is going to help them and not us. So where does this end? How far does this go before we, the people, cannot afford to live no matter what age we are?
Not looking like too much longer. You know, their plan is 2030. In the next 2 years or so, the effects of what's happening right now will be felt within. I'm not saying it's going to take that long. It might be quicker. But within that time, what's happening now, the policy changes, the fertilizer crisis that's already started, that's about to be felt in the economy. Everything going on with the strike, truckers being affected due to the increase in gas prices. Listen, all of that's going to be felt probably this summer. And then summer on to winter in the new year as well. The Gregorian calendar new year. Always got to say that because we celebrate our new year differently. But anyway, that'll all be felt. That's 27 right there. And all throughout that year is more than likely going to be a pandemic going on too. Right? And we know how that's going to go. That's going to lead us up into 28. Then 28 to 30, it's going to get worse from there. So we really this year, we really got to get it together. If you don't have it together this year, you got to get it together this year. And maybe a little bit of next year you will have time. But other than that, then the window is drawing near.